Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX Deep Dive with me, Devika Devan, where today we delve into an alleged suicide case that has sparked more questions than it can deliver answers. It's a case of competing claims, a missing timeline, and an ongoing investigation. With questions emerging on whether it was suicide, murder, or dowry death, tonight we delve into what we know so far and what remains a mystery. The death of 28-year-old Akriti Sutar has raised many questions. Married 72 days ago, on 4th July, the young professional went to work, celebrated with colleagues, and just hours later was found dead after an alleged fall from a government residential building in Delhi's Lodi colony. Delhi police have arrested Akriti's husband after registering a dowry death case, but investigators are still piecing together the events that led to her death. Postmortem and forensic evidence are expected to play a crucial role, with her body allegedly carrying a number of bruises. So let's first try to ascertain the facts of the case. Here's the timeline as it stands. Akriti Sutar married Arastu Sikka on 24th April 2026 after what some have described as an 8-year relationship. According to Akriti's family, she had not been going to work for a few days because of her husband's insistence and had only recently resumed work on the 1st of July. On the day of her death, Akriti attended office and even hosted a post-marriage celebration for her colleagues before leaving for home. Akriti, a resident of Bihar, worked as a sales executive at a private company in Chhatarpur. According to her family, Akriti's mother had spoken to her at around 6 p.m. after she left for her office and again at around 6:40 p.m., but her phone became unreachable shortly afterwards. At 8 p.m., her husband, Arastu Sikka, called her family saying Akriti had gone missing. 90 minutes later, the police called them up to inform that a body had been found 10 kilometers away from the couple's residence. Arastu is reportedly unemployed, and Akriti's father-in-law is an inspection official with the Delhi government Labour Department in Bihar. According to Delhi police, CCTV footage showed Akriti entering the NDMC residential complex in Lodi colony area alone before the incident. The location was nearly 10 kilometers away from her home, and investigators have not been able to determine why was she there. Residents found her body on the ground at around 9 p.m. and called the police. Upon arrival, cops found that Akriti's body had multiple injuries, bruises, and there was no blood stain on the spot. Only her phone, slippers and handbag were found on the 3rd floor of the building. She was declared dead at the AIIMS Trauma Center, with the post-mortem examination currently underway. Now, her family has alleged that Akriti was murdered, accusing her husband and in-laws of being responsible for her death. They've rejected the possibility of suicide, claiming that Akriti was mentally strong and had no reason to take the extreme step. Akriti's family has claimed that her husband and his family members murdered Akriti over dowry-related demands, saying that she had been subjected to physical assault and harassment by her husband after marriage. Her brother Amir Sutar said that although his initial assessment of the groom refused dowry, within days of marriage, her husband started assaulting her and demanding cash and a car with reports of rupees 20 lakh. The family also claimed that Akriti often called her mother, saying that she had been beaten and tortured. Listen in.
कर ये थी कि वो बहुत दिन से सफ़र कर रही थी कि उसके इनके जो हस्बैंड है उनके ऊपर बहुत ज़्यादा ब्लेम करते थे चीज़ों को, उन पे टॉर्चर करना, उनके ऊपर हद से ज़्यादा शक करना और हाथ उठाना, ये सब चीज़ किया करते थे.
तो कभी आपके सिस्टर ने आपको ये सब बताया कि
हाँ, जब उनने बताया तो हमने एक्शन लिया था अभी 2-3 दिन पहले ही, तब उसके बाद ये वाली घटना हुई.
Akriti's uncle, meanwhile, said that the couple had known each other since school and had a love/arranged marriage. They reportedly frequently argued over dowry demands and the husband's unemployment. The family said that Arastu had threatened to kill her on multiple occasions and that the couple had a serious argument just 2 days before her death. Meanwhile, cops are investigating the case, examining both the family's allegations of harassment and the digital evidence recovered during the probe. Investigators say that her Google search history showed that in May she had searched for the words of how to die easily, an aspect that is now part of the investigation. In fact, officials also found that on 4th July, the day of her death, she had searched on Google at around 2:22 p.m. asking whether a fall from the 2nd floor could cause death. Further legal action they have added will be taken after the post-mortem examination report is received. So far, one aspect of the probe has particularly puzzled the police. An officer revealed that it had been found that Akriti, who was working as a sales executive at a private company in Chhatarpur, took the metro from Chhatarpur to Saket to go to Pushpehar, but later went to Lodi colony. So far, no links have been found to anyone known to her staying in her apartment complex, and establishing why Akriti was at the Lodi colony building in the first place has become a key aspect of the case. At the center of this investigation lies one document, the post-mortem. It could help determine whether injuries are consistent with the fall, whether there were injuries sustained before the fall, the approximate time of death, and whether there are forensic indicators that support or contradict different theories. For now, the Akriti Sutar case remains exactly what investigators describe it as, an active investigation. The family believes it was murder linked to alleged dowry harassment. Cops have arrested the husband, Rasta Sikka, and are examining forensic evidence, CCTV footage, and witness statements. Sadly, the case has also reignited a wider conversation. From Twisha Sharma, Deepika Nagar to now Akriti Sutar, every time a young married woman dies under suspicious circumstances, the families demand answers. Were there warning signs? Did anyone know about the alleged harassment, and could intervention have prevented the tragedy? That's all the information that we have for now. Let me bring in Mr. Sanjay Sahai, former ADGP of Karnataka, into the conversation. Mr. Sahai, as far as the current situation is concerned, we're talking about certain Google searches that have come to light in the initial investigation, asking about deaths and whether falling from a building can lead to death. How does that then really play out in the prosecution's case when they're trying to build, when the family on the one hand is saying dowry harassment? How do you build that up if it eventually is proven to be suicide in the courts?
See, what has to be necessarily proven by scientific evidence, and that is the post-mortem. If in the post-mortem it comes out it is an accidental fall where the injuries were ante-mortem or it was post-mortem injury, nature of the fall, and that it is not consistent with any homicidal injury, then the story becomes very different. See, there are two things you're talking about. Two things. One is things which have been happening last couple of years, and the third incident of that nature. So two things are certainly there. Those ingredients are that there was a dowry harassment before this incident took place, and there has also been suicidal impulse, which can be seen from whatever the Google searches show. But how does it connect to the final fall? And as you have been repeating over and over again, why did she come to that particular location? And if you go ahead with whatever is there in that particular searches and the location, I think there is some amount of link which naturally comes on a public domain information. The inside details one is not aware of. Only if it is accidental fall, then there is a chance that it might not be treated as a dowry death. Because it's accidental fall, even if the accentuating factors were there, she was not driven to killing herself or a stopwatch or things of that nature, which is very, very suspicious in nature.
Yes.
Here it is, as it stands now, if it is suicidal, which means if she has jumped off, then it becomes a clear-cut case of dowry death. All the ingredients are there. Her urge to commit suicide, which is presumed to be because of whatever has been happening to her. Again, we come back to a question outside of investigation, is that when the parents and other people come to know of this nature of harassment happening, and there is a huge dowry demand inclusive of physical abuse, should they intervene or should they not intervene? Law will take its own course, law will keep taking its own course, but in the process, the girl has lost her life for no reason. And whether she was partying, not partying, birthday or not birthday, I don't think from a psychological point of view there can be a straight correlation that just because she was partying, she could not have committed suicide. Or just because she's a strong woman, which is seen from outside, the harassment which has been going inside her could not force her to commit suicide. So these are the broad contours of the case. The critical point again remains why she went there, whether it has been recorded on the CCTV, from where she jumped if she did. So at that, if that particular point is recorded on the CCTV, then it makes very simple. From the other end, it is the post-mortem report, which will give you, I think, a reasonable amount of idea whether it is a suicidal fall or somebody has pushed her or it is an accident fall. The injuries have been ante-mortem or post-mortem. So the forensic recreation of the whole scene based on scientific tests and findings, that is very critical. As far as the digital trail is concerned, I think there is enough and sufficient digital trail to basically pinpoint every single movement, and there is circumstantial evidence to prove that harassment has been happening, which is being said over and over again. And the investigators will not find it very difficult to piece things together as far as the harassment and digital trail is concerned. Is only the forensic, medical, post-mortem, that evidence becomes very important. Whether it's a suicide or a homicide, I think what ensues is a big investigation proving very clear. Dowry death also, they suffer nearly the same fate. So that is literally close. If it is a accidental thing, then there can be issues can be different. But homicide and suicide, you end up in a dowry death case or a murder case, equally very heinous, and the punishments are also very stringent.
Absolutely. Mr. Sai, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast with that perspective. We leave it there and sip into a very quick break.